Let's get a quick take on the one-year anniversary of the University of Colorado A-Line to the airport that has been riddled with more than its fair share of problems. Patty Calhoun from Westward, maybe it's just that any project airport related needs at least a year to work out the kinks. Is that the situation with the A-Line?
Or 10 years in the case of originally building DIA. No, I think in this case we have legitimate kinks that it's going to take some time to catch up with, and then we have things that just weren't right in the first place. The crossing guard, the barriers that we still have to pay to have guards at, that's something that it should never have started with those. You understand there's some gaps, and RTD and Denver Transit Partners, which run it, make a pretty good case for the fact that really most of the time, 98% of the time, it's fine. It's not that late. But if you're one of those 2% missing your plane, it definitely plays a factor.
Or whatever percent of riders we've seen getting off the train in the middle of nowhere to get into buses to finally get you there.
Or to call Uber.
Exactly. David Kopel from the now nationally infamous Independence Institute, thanks to At Midnight, also at DU Law School. What do you think, or really behind the problems we've seen for this first year? Was it about it coming out too early, mismanagement, they didn't know what was going on? What would you pin it on?
The core problem is RTD. As Dale Tooley, one of Denver's great district attorneys, once said, most people don't think RTD could run a two-car funeral. And they now tell us, oh, we had our problems, but A-Line's going to be fine from now on. RTD public relations is like the National Enquirer, where there actually are some true things that are said, but the fact that they say it doesn't make it any more likely to be true. If they were honest and told you the real facts and figures, then we wouldn't have this light rail fiasco in the first place. All these lines should have been built by now or getting close to being completed. The cost is more than double, I believe, what they told us it was going to be when they were lying to the public to pass the initiative for the light rail lines in the first place, and they're vastly behind schedule. When you have a monopoly system like this is the kind of incompetence that almost inevitably results.
Eric Sonderman, political analyst. You know they've had a tough year when a whole feature on Hey Next with Next with Kyle Clark features if the A-Line is running today, and it's always a surprise. Do you think the problems the A-Line has had will impact RTD with projects in the future?
Sure it will. It forms public opinion. I particularly think the naming of the A-Line is a sign of the great inflation we have in this country. If this is an A-Line, what do you have to do to get a C or a D anymore? It has a ripple effect. To your point, Dominic, has a ripple effect on future proposals or future plans by RTD. In the short term, there's the G line, which is probably, maybe it should be a K line. I don't know where it falls on grades, but that's heading out west. But it is on hold until they get these technological issues resolved. So there are people, not just along this route, who are suffering until they get it figured out. I understand that there's new technology at play here, and that new technology often has wrinkles. But I can't figure out why this technology is so dang difficult. I mean, for decades, we've had technology where when a train trips something on the rail, the crossing guard comes down. When it goes past the crossing guard goes up. I don't understand the particular nature of this difficulty. They keep getting waivers from the federal government. Every 3 months or so, there's a new waiver. They keep saying this is the last waiver we're going to do, and there keeps being another waiver. You wonder at what point does this issue finally get fixed?
And Halisi Vincent joins us, president of Colorado Black Women for Political Action. Do we need more patience with the A-Train?
Interestingly, and I take exception with some of the things that were said, we have one of the best public transportation systems, and RTD actually has won a lot of awards. A-Line is not light rail, it's heavy rail. And there are some technical aspects that go into that they did not have to deal with light rail. But where I don't take exception is that, in building the light rail, they put some of the onus on the backs of those who are most vulnerable by canceling bus lines in the Montbello and far northeast, and so consequently first and last mile are an issue for those who cannot afford for it to be an issue. And then on top of that, you've got the airport that is deciding to take away capitalism, I guess, and just award the taxi service to one service, and that's Metro. And I think that if we have, competition, that's always the best. And so I'm hoping that Green Taxi and the rest of the employee-owned taxi services continue to service the airport.